So today we're going to be looking at idioms again, but we're going to look at geographical idioms. So what does that mean? That means we take an adjective, like let's take a country. Let's take France.
Okay.
What is the adjective of France? It's also the language.
French.
Perfect, exactly, French. And Mexico, what is the adjective of Mexico?
Mexican.
Very good. So Mexican. A lot of countries or adjectives are the "an." For example, Colombian, Ecuadorian, Italian, American.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to be learning some idioms related to these adjectives. And we're going to start off with a bit of a saucy one. What is the difference, Alexis, between a kiss and a French kiss?
Oh, very saucy.
Very saucy.
Well, you wouldn't French kiss your family member because it's a lover's kiss involving the tongue. You get some tongue action.
Okay. Right. So a kiss would be mwah, mwah. And a French kiss would be the tongues would be rubbing each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. And does this translate to other words with the adjective of French? For example, a French bulldog or French cricket. Is French cricket just cricket with more tongue?
Probably so.
Probably.
I
imagine. Okay. So that's the French kiss. Now,
French
here's
kiss.
a trope I've seen in a lot of movies, and this is a Mexican standoff.
Ah, okay.
Like if you've seen the movie Reservoir Dogs, it's done in a lot of cowboy films, a Mexican standoff. Can you tell me how it works, Alexis?
In a Mexican standoff, I believe that is where they have a group of 2 people, right?
At least 2. It could be 3 or 4.
Okay. And I don't know how to explain it. They're all pointing their guns at each other.
Exactly.
And if you shoot somebody, they might shoot you. So really, it's a confrontation where there's no strategy.
That's right. It's in chess, we might call it a stalemate. It's essentially where nobody can move. So let's say, Alexis, I'm pointing a gun at you, and you are pointing a gun at my friend Elsa, and Elsa is pointing a gun at me, and we're all pointing guns at each other, and if anyone shoots, we all die. So we all have to kind of retreat and back away. We're all nobody wins. Exactly. We're all stuck. So in chess, we call this a stalemate, where no one can win. Mexican standoff.
Or a Mexican standoff. Okay.
Perfect. You might see this in football games, and this is called the Mexican wave.
Okay. And where does this come from, the Mexican wave?
I think it was from like the World Cup at some point. I'm not sure which. I think it was like in the 1980s. But what I believe is a group of spectators would all stand up, and they would throw their hands up in the air, and they would stand up, and then the person next to them would do it as well. And it would create a kind of a chain reaction. So all of the audience members would stand up one after the other, and it would create a kind of a flow or a wave throughout the stadium, which is very fun to see. Yeah, and participate in as well.
I was going to say, they do that in American football stadiums a lot.
Okay, brilliant. Very good. So Mexican wave and Mexican standoff. Now, let's move on to the Dutch. And,
okay.
So the Dutch refers to the Netherlands, a country in Europe. And there are a lot of idioms with Dutch in them. One of them is, and this is about paying for dinner. Have you heard of this, Alexis, to go Dutch?
Yes. I haven't done it often, but to go Dutch is if you go to, usually with a friend, you might do this, or you would basically not pay the whole bill, but pay for your part or split it 50-50 typically.
So if let's say you and your friend go out to lunch and you're just friends and you have a hamburger and your friend has a pizza, then you would pay for your hamburger and she would pay for her pizza, and that would be it. Job done.
Yeah, and if we shared maybe an appetizer, we would each pay for half of that.
Okay. So it's a very egalitarian, very equal kind of system.
Yes.
What
yes.
about in the US, Alexis, where you're from? Would it be common to go Dutch on a first date, or would that be frowned upon?
No. I think the person would be like looked at as really cheap if
really
they
stingy,
did this.
really cheap.
Really
Yeah.
stingy. Yeah. So you could, but I don't know if you'll get a second date.
Right. Okay. Well, my theory is that the Dutch men are very tall and very handsome. And because of this, they have a certain negotiating power when they go on a date. So because they're so handsome, they don't have to pay for everything. They're like, well, I'm very handsome and I could go on many dates with many beautiful women, so I will only pay 50%. There's a sort of a negotiating power that doesn't exist in every country.
Right.
That's my theory.
They are very handsome.
They are. Yeah. And this gives them power.
Yes.
There we go. Being very nice to our Dutch listeners today, if we have any.
We love them.
Yes. I want to look at another geographical idiom with the Dutch, and this is Dutch courage.
Yes. I've had Dutch courage before, where if you're very nervous before doing something, maybe you have a big presentation or speech that you have to give in front of a lot of people, you might have a little sip of something, particularly alcohol.
And that always alcohol, I think. Yeah.
Yes, always alcohol. So if you drink to calm the nerves or build up some courage, we say Dutch courage, or sometimes you'll hear liquid courage as well.
Ah, yes, liquid courage or Dutch courage. So what about you, Alexis? Are you a nervous... Now, you work as an online English teacher, so I'm sure you're comfortable with speaking publicly. But is there like a number, like a threshold that you get to? We're all comfortable talking one-to-one, but how would you feel about giving a conference to 20,000 people?
Ooh,
where's your limit? Where's your comfort zone? 10 people, 20 people?
No, I can handle maybe like 100, but no more.
100. Okay.
I've had to do things unexpectedly in front of people in a foreign language, in Spanish, and that is where I could have used some Dutch courage.
Right. So if you have a shot of tequila, your vocabulary will go down, but your confidence will go up, essentially. Yeah.
Not perfect grammar, but not...
Who cares? You've had tequila in your body and you're not that worried anymore.
Nope.
And did it work, this shot of tequila before your presentation? Did it make you feel more relaxed, or was it counterproductive?
Definitely, but I would say be careful with just one. I would say is okay, but don't keep going, and then it will probably... I think the conversation will start out really good and you'll do really well, and then people won't be able to understand you after a few Dutch courages.
So I believe that this expression Dutch courage came from I think it was the 17th century, and it was the during the 30-year War. So the Dutch and I think the English soldiers were fighting each other, and I believed that the Dutch were outnumbered and pretty nervous because they were going to die. So they said, okay, well, if we drink some beer, we'll feel much more confident and we won't be so scared. So it'll give us the courage we need to go into battle. Yeah. Probably won't make us very accurate at shooting our guns, but, we'll feel brave at least. Yeah.
Yes, they'll go out strong.
The last one with Dutch, and I wasn't planning on adding this because it's disgusting, but I really hope you've never heard of this. Have you heard of a Dutch oven?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have a brother. I have an older brother. Yes.
Okay. Well, would you like to explain this to our listeners, or will I take the fall?
No, sure, I got it.
Thank you so much. A Dutch oven.
Mean.
It's very mean.
when you're in the bed with somebody, sharing a bed with somebody, and sometimes they need to let a fart out, they will cover you with the blanket and where you cannot get air and you only breathe in the awful smell. So
Right.
that
So normally when you're sharing a bed with someone and you need to fart, you might want to, aerate the blankets to let it out the side or something. But with a Dutch oven, it's the opposite. You want to create a kind of a gas chamber. You want to trap them under the blanket to breathe your farts.
Normally, I don't throw the blanket over somebody. If
normally, so is this like a regular occurrence, Alexis? This is something you do on a weekly?
No. But no. Maybe daily sometimes, but weekly, no.
Oh, okay, yeah. Special occasions.
Special occasions, yeah. Certain months.
Now, I'm Irish, and there are a couple of adjectives with when Irish is used as an adjective. And maybe you've heard of an Irish coffee. I'm a bit embarrassed about this one because I'm Irish. But what is the difference, Alexis, between a coffee and an Irish coffee?
Alcohol goes into Irish coffee, usually whiskey or Bailey's.
So an Irish coffee would be coffee with whiskey in it. And there we go. Are there any other words you can think of with Irish in them?
You could have Irish chocolate as well,
which would be chocolate with
alcohol as well
whiskey in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Basically, I believe you could say Irish in any type of food if you had alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So maybe
Irish soup would be soup with whiskey in it. Irish chocolate would be chocolate with whiskey in it. What is an Irish whiskey?
An Irish whiskey is, I'm not sure. An
Irish whiskey is whiskey, but with whiskey in it. So it's double whiskey.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say.
One shot of whiskey isn't enough. You want a full glass. So that would be an Irish whiskey. Whiskey with then a shot of whiskey added on top.
Like Jameson or something, right?
Yeah. Jameson with a splash of Jameson on top as well. Okay. Yeah. We're not proud of that.
So it's a double, we say.
Exactly.
Okay. New words for me as well.
And there's one more with Irish, and we'll just finish with that one, and that is an Irish goodbye.
Oh, I like this term. When you are at a party or a social event and you don't say bye to people, you just leave. You just
sneak out the back, yes? Like
sneak out the back door. And sometimes it's useful.
I've done this as well many times at even bars or parties, but why might somebody want to make an Irish goodbye?
For me sometimes, or I think in general, because people start pressuring you to stay longer, like, oh, just stay for one more drink, and you're tired, or maybe you have work the next day and you don't want to be rude, so you just kind of exit and they won't notice until.
So if there's 50 people at a party, if you sneak away, no one will even notice you're gone unless you're the center of the party. But if you say, everyone, I'm leaving, sometimes it creates an energy. Oh, well, if Jerome is leaving, that's my opportunity to leave as well. And then it creates a domino effect where everyone starts to leave. And then your friend might say, thanks for destroying my party. And it's like, I'm sorry, I ruined your party by making it publicly acceptable to leave. So the best thing to do is to sort of vampire out the back door with no one noticing, and you don't have that confrontation, and you can deal with it the next day.
Exactly. It's an easy exit.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Alexis, for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next week.
See ya.